And we are live. Welcome to Rijooviness TV.
Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you are in the world today. My name is Sue Alexander.
And I'm Reg Lenny.
And it's a pleasure to welcome you on Rijooviness TV. And for wherever you are in the world, I hope you had an amazing weekend, a great rest. It was wonderful for us to have a few days off to do what we tell everyone else to do, which is really reconnect with yourself. And we are so excited today because we are joined by somebody very special from Mexico, and we're joined by Ted Shaw, who's been a friend of Reg's for a really long time, and he has so many talents. It's incredible, but he's a master FireWalker instructor, and he basically helps people to overcome their limiting beliefs. And he does so many different modalities, and today he's here with us in the studio to really discuss how you can break through the boundaries that you've put on yourself and what you can do to really empower yourself using so many of the modalities that he has. And here's a little excerpt of exactly what Ted does and how he helps and supports other people.
It's a combination of art and science. Some people ask me if it's mind over matter. I think it's more mind in matter. When people have this experience, whether they walk the fire or whether they just observe this phenomenon, and it is a phenomenon because it defies all the laws of physics, something happens. We have been taught all of our life that fire burns. Most people have had that experience with fire one time or another. So when you see people that walk across these burning embers, and they can range anywhere from 700 degrees to 1500 degrees Fahrenheit without getting burned, even if you watch it, it does something to you on the inside because you're seeing something that is supposed to be impossible. And when you see this, when you witness this with your own eyes, then you begin, something happens and you start questioning, what else have I been taught that's incorrect about what I can accomplish, what I can do, where I can go from here? It just opens doors.
And that is the amazing Ted Shaw, one tiny little element of this magnificent man that we are blessed to have on the show with us today.
So without further ado, we're going to bring Ted into the studio so that he can share his wisdom. Hello, all the way from Mexico.
And there he is.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ted. And it's so great to see you. You're in your shop today, are you?
Yes, well, thank you guys for inviting me on your show. I'm really honored to be here. And yes, I'm broadcasting today from our art gallery here in Ajijic, Mexico.
Amazing. And I know that Reg has been there, and before we get on to the FireWalking, I know that one of the things you do, which I was absolutely blown away by, was that you do aura interpretation by doing incredible paintings, which are beautiful in their own right, but you actually explore the energy of people. And, you know, on this program, we really do explore how people's energy is affecting everything in their life. And today, it's all about really empowering yourself. And maybe you can just share with everyone. And, you know, if there's anyone who's tuned into Rijooviness TV at the moment, do share the link with your friends, because what we're about to share is going to really change a lot of people's vision for what's possible. So
Absolutely. And if you have any questions, we do have a live chat going on. So feel free to ask any questions or make any comments, get involved with the show. And we're going to turn over to Ted here and let you share your wisdom with us.
Well, I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. As you pointed out, I do work with energy. I'm very conscious of energy. The aura portraits actually came to me in a very unusual way. I grew up in Texas, the kind of the southern edge of the Bible Belt. So my upbringing was very strong Christian background, which is okay. But I had gone through my last divorce was a major catastrophe. It took away everything that I'd built up, and I had to start over from scratch. That's a whole nother story. But in that recovery process, well, I just realized I needed the set of tools that I had been given or picked up or taught throughout my young life and into my adult life obviously weren't working. I'd had 2 major divorces, start completely over divorces, and 2 or 3 near-death experiences, which really should add up to 5 near-death experiences. But it was during that, it was after that second divorce that I really came to the realization that things I was doing wasn't working. And I realized I needed another set of tools so that I could better navigate life. It was either that or commit suicide. And I mean, I had a gun. I was about ready to do that. And I just snapped. And I said, no, I know better than this. There's got to be a way. There's other people that have been through this, and they've come out on the other end. And so I just need to go out and find out what these tools are, where they are, and figure out how to apply them to my life. And I wanted to change everything. I was just determined not to go through all of that again. So part of that journey took me into FireWalking. Back in the 60s, I remember there was a lot of experiential events going on all over America. People were trying to self-discover, doing all kinds of activities, probably the precluder to all of the life coaching and everything that we have available to us today. And FireWalking was one of those things that I had always heard a lot about. I'd never been able to go see it or be in it or do one. And I thought, well, let me ask around. And I did. I asked around, and a massage therapist that I knew gave me a website. I went on the website, read about the training center. It was only 20 minutes from where I was living. So I picked up the phone. I called. A gentleman answered the phone. He was the master of the fire teacher over there. We had a very good conversation. He invited me to come to a fire walk, which I did. And it was an amazing, such a life-changing experience for me. All of my life, I've wanted to be an artist. That was my primary passion in life. When I was going through school, I had 3 things that I was interested in. One of them was art, the other one was girls, and the other one was surfing, not necessarily in that order. So, you know, I just, I don't know how I got off the track on that, but FireWalking opened up channels in me. Up until that time, I always felt like I was kind of like the creative beggar next to the stream of creativity. Every once in a while, I'd dip out a little cup and I'd have a little flash of success, and then it would fade off and I'd be back to the old grind working for corporate America or whatever. But that firewalk opened up something in me. It opened up some channels in me, and it started me thinking about alternative ways of looking at life and activities and things like that. And today, that river of creativity literally flows through me. I stand in the midst of it every day. So,
and I think for a lot of people, it's those profound experiences, those life-changing experiences that you go through when you are, I think as you said, I've got it written down here that you said the dark night of the soul. You know, I think a lot of people most definitely in the last year have experienced times of great darkness because of the change and the effects it's had on people. And there's, like you said, there's one way to go or the other. So, you know, it's such an inspirational story that you took what was a part of your life that, you know, had completely broken you and actually started again, like you phoenixed in the fire, is how I would like to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I came out of the fire like a phoenix out of the ashes. And
So how did that take you to working with the FIRE Institute? We know that that's where Tony Robbins, Harv Ecker, pretty much all the original big names that we know now started there many, many years ago. And you were there even before that. So that's, your wisdom in where kind of everything all came from is very exciting to share.
Well, you wrote the manual.
And you even write the manual for it. How awesome is that?
Well, I didn't write the whole manual, but I was a pretty good contributing author to the manual. Yes, sir. As I said, the training center was only 20 minutes from my house, and this training center was operated by John Mazel. John Mazel was one of the original certified master FireWalking instructors from the FireWalking Institute of Research and Education, nicknamed FIRE. FIRE was started in about the mid-70s by Tolly Burkan. Tolly Burkan had seen FireWalking, was mystified by it, and until that time, it was a very guarded secret. Throughout history, it's been very guarded because it gave those that knew about how to do it, it gave them a higher position, if you will, in their societies. So it was very guarded and very protected. Well, Tolly went out to find out what was going on with it, and he discovered about it, and he started sharing it with some of his friends in California. And that grew, and he began to realize that people were doing this, were changing their lives. And the more he saw that happen, the more he started developing programs centered around FireWalking that people could actually, anybody can just pile up some wood, light it on fire, and walk on fire. But the takeaway is the important part of it. And Tolly started building this program in which people could not only have the experience, but also have a massive takeaway from that experience that they could go into their everyday life and start applying the very simple principles about understanding fear, understanding that you can't get rid of fear, you don't want to get rid of fear, but find out how to work with fear in such a way so that it doesn't paralyze you, but rather empowers you. And that was in the mid-70s. My first firewalk was in about 2000, just prior to 2000, when all the changing of the century was happening and people were talking about airplanes falling out of the sky and things like that. That was when I had my first firewalk. And it made such a difference to me. He was having a firewalk every month, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month for various groups and associations. And I was there for every one of them. I was cleaning fire sites, hauling wood, hauling water, serving food. I was doing whatever I could to be around that element and to be around the trainer, John, and to learn about fire tending and what it is to spiritually and energetically connect with an elemental force of nature and to watch it change people. It was just, I stayed around and they started giving me more of this and more responsibility here, there, and the other place. And next thing you know, I'm certified as a firewalking instructor. And then the next level was an executive firewalking instructor. And then the final level, master firewalking instructor. I don't feel like I
cool before cool knew what cool was.
That was a little play on words there. Huh? So yeah, that was how I got into it, and that's what kept me in it. And I just stayed around long enough, and I it's fun. I was sharing this with somebody the other day. A friend of mine lives in Hawaii right now. She said, we've got the best job on the planet. Oh, yeah? She said, yeah, we get to be there when the light comes on for people.
Because, what is the temperature on average of what people are walking on? What's the average temperatures that you're actually walking on at the time?
I'm having a little difficulty understanding you.
So the temperature of the
coals.
How hot is it?
The temperature of the coals will range between 700 and 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. At its hottest, it's hot enough to melt aluminum.
Wow.
And yet it is possible to get in the right state of mind, the key to get in the right state of mind, which is the key for everything in life. In the right state of mind, you can walk. I've walked over, I think my longest walk was 135 feet.
Wow. Incredible.
Sorry.
So I mean, you've seen transformations of people in the events, and you know, maybe people coming with fear or had never done firewalking before. What you know, you see that change of them at the moment in the time, but what kind of feedback do you get from people in their lives, weeks or months or years after they've experienced that? You must, over the years, have heard back or come across people, you know, a lot of time later. What's the feedback that you get on how that's actually affected all other areas of their life by having that one simple brain shift?
I've probably helped thousands of people get across the fire. And I love to be around that group when the fire is closed and they're just milling around, maybe having snacks or drinks or whatever, and chit chat. And invariably, people will come up to me, almost line up for a chance to come up to and give me a hug and tell me how much I've changed their life.
Awesome.
And it's pardon me.
No, I get it. Sue and I are passionate about what we do as well. And that's the great thing about living your passion, right? I mean, we can feel the energy coming through you. And I mean, to actually be with you in person, I was very grateful for the time I got to share with you in Mexico. And, you know, to be able to work with you and people like yourself that have a passion for helping and passion for teaching. And, you know, there's nothing like it. And that's what Be You and our whole Rijooviness concept is about, is helping people to find their inner superpowers and their inner passions to be able to share exactly what you're feeling right now. Because doing things is one thing, but doing things that give you that passion and then give you that feedback that you're actually supporting and helping others, you know, through difficult times is magic, isn't it? So
It really is. It really is. But I understand when I first got into this, I was absolutely selfish. I had no idea I would ever be encouraging anybody else to make changes in their life. I never thought I would be a life coach. That was not even on the menu. But I had so many people come up to me after the firewalks and after aura portraits and things like that, saying, you know, you got such a way of helping people connect with something on the inside. Have you ever thought about being a life coach? And one thing led to another, and so yeah, here I am.
Yes, here you are, and it's you know, I think because you combine the modalities that you do, because if somebody has a breakthrough in their life, and whatever it might be, then to have a coach to then follow through to keep one on the right path, it is really, really important. So one of my questions to you is, have any of your students that have probably come to you, had an aura picture created by you, then done a fire walk, and then had another interpretation done? Can you see the shift? Can you see the energy? And I know that Reg had his done, and he's a very blue energy, and you picked it up straight away. Every single thing that you said about him and the way that you could read him was spot on, I have to say. And that for me was fascinating, because you read for him a long time ago. It was a couple of years ago now. So, you know, have you seen that? Have you seen the change?
Yes, I have a little flip book, if you will, for when I do appear or used to appear in different events, different venues offering the aura portraits. I have two pictures in there. One picture of a lady who came to me for an aura portrait, and during the aura portrait, or the interpreting of her colors, it was an opportunity for me to point out certain things in her life that if she chose to modify her behavior, her thought patterns, and change a few things, it would help her change her life. And these pages are like this in the book. The one on the left side is that day, that first one I gave her. 1 year later, she came back and had another one done, and it's on the facing page. And I asked people to look at these two people, and they don't even know it's the same woman. She changed, physically changed, spiritually changed, physically. I mean, everything about her life just took a 180-degree turn with ease, with grace, with no catastrophic events going on or anything like that. It was just being aware that of the things that weren't working, and we all have blind spots. And for somebody, and as you mentioned, it's really helpful to find a mentor, find someone you can trust, find someone who will support your journey and help you not only be accountable, but just help you to be able to process or go through the process of trusting the process.
It's like really, you say, and I love that you said that, because we hear that all the time as well. You know, people, they say they've been taking courses and taking events and reading books and trying this and trying that, and it's always hard, work. But all of a sudden, as soon as you click them onto something that creates that awareness, and that's one of my favorite words, I say it all the time, aware. As soon as people get it and that awareness kicks in, all of a sudden everything becomes very easy. And they think, holy mackerel, the changes I'm now experiencing in my life, in my body, in my health, in my success, in all areas of my life, and it's happening so easy. I don't get it. What's happening? And that's it. It just comes down to that. Be aware of where you're focusing your time, your energy, your perceptions, your goals, because we are achieving what we're focused on. You're focused on, I'm sick and I'm fat and I'm miserable and I hate my life and I hate this. Well, awesome. That's exactly what you're creating.
It
you
is.
Want to change your perception, change the awareness.
And you and I talked about this when you were visiting here. The title of my first book is The Magic of Wonder.
Absolutely.
And that's a key question that I like to ask people when they're stuck, when they can't see the forest for the trees. I have a favorite little question. I say, what are you wondering about? Once they focus on, okay, well, I'm wondering about, if I'm going to get yelled at tomorrow when I go to work, or is my cancer going to take me out early? Well, what are you wondering about? And they'll almost always tell you that they're wondering about things that they really are manifesting in their life.
Yeah, all the things they don't want.
Right. So shift their focus to wondering about, wow, I wonder how fast I can overcome this cancer. I wonder if I can be one of those people out there who has such a testimony about getting a better job, or getting a better relationship, or getting a front row parking every time. I mean, that sounds really simple, but it's the same force that works with us that can somehow or another bring about the exact events that will enable that front row parking spot to open up just as we drive up there, because we have set an intention. We're not demanding, we're not begging, we're in partnership with the universe and expecting that I'm going to get a front row parking whenever I get there. There's no difference in that than there is to
expect you won't get the front row parking.
Yeah. You can use the same intention, the same process to overcome cancer, to overcome all kinds of things that we think are in our way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. 100%. We see it all the time.
I bet you do.
Almost a daily thing with the clients that we're working with.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've just joined us, everyone, on Rijooviness TV, we're joined today by the amazing Ted Shaw, who's joining us from Mexico. He's a master FireWalking instructor, and he has been doing this for many years. He helps people to transform their lives by not having limiting beliefs. He's written a book, The Magic of Wonder, which is a must-read for anyone who wants the transformation in their life, regardless of what it is. And Ted, What are you finding in the world that we're living in at the moment that people are most struggling with? What are you seeing that people are really having to adjust their perception of?
That's a very good question. From my perspective, I think most people are dealing with checking their values. What were they into? What did they value before all the lockdowns happened? Now that maybe many of them don't have that job that they used to have that they identified with, or maybe they don't have that craft anymore. They don't have a customer base anymore, and everything is in flux. So now they're looking, well, golly, I got, and then they go, then when they get past that, the fear of all of that being taken away, the uncertainty, then they begin to start looking inside. They begin to realize, well, you know what? I really didn't like that job anyway. I wonder if there's something else I can do that would give me more happiness, more success.
Isn't that interesting? And again, that's something that we hear all the time. People always say, oh, I haven't got my security anymore. I haven't got my job, and I haven't got this, and I haven't got that. And I just point out to them, well, if it was secure, you'd still have it now. There is no security when you've put your life and your time and your money and your opportunities into the hands of others. As soon as you're allowing others to control how much money you earn and how much work you do and where you share your passions and your talents and how much of your passions and talents you can share, well, then you're into the world of uncertainty. When other people are controlling you. The only way you get that certainty is, like you said, when you take control, you're aware of your awareness and your perception and your goals and your focus, where you're spending your vital life energy. Well, now you've got certainty. Far more than when it's in other people's hands.
Yep. And when you get to that point, it's a good thing to have or create a plan.
Yes.
I'm getting close to finishing my second book, which is 7 Steps to Achieve Any Goal. And
what is the name?
7 Steps to Achieve Any Goal.
Nice.
Amazing.
And it's how to build your own personal proven roadmap to success.
Awesome.
In my practice and in my life, I've found that it boils down to just 5 simple steps, and then there's 2 more little add-ons that go with it. And it doesn't matter whether you're planning a family cookout in the backyard, or whether you want to start a business and grow it to a multi-million-dollar business. The steps are the same. You just follow the steps, and if you'll just follow these steps, at the end of the book, and I'm making a workbook too, at the end of the workbook, you will have created a very fine-tuned roadmap. I kind of like to call it a treasure map. I'm a pirate at heart. And you know how treasure maps are. The pirates bury their treasure on an island somewhere and scribble out this map. And so that when they come back to it, they know where the quicksand is, or where the cannibals live, or where that cliff is, and how to navigate through all that stuff to get to the treasure. So it's all about having a map to know where you're going, know where you are, have a plan, follow the plan, check in every once in a while, measure, adjust, and celebrate. You got to celebrate all those little achievements. That's where a lot of people miss out. It's a simple thing, but it means so much to us psychologically. Yes. When you achieve one of those little steps in your plan, have a reward, have a reason to celebrate. It may seem like it's so small, and that's okay, because it does something in here that fuels you. It adds fuel to that fire that gives you more passion to and more excitement to get to the next goal.
Exactly. And that's even a daily thing. Like you said, even the small things. I'm working with a client that, I got him doing his 21 push-ups a day, just as kind of a start to get back into health and wellness, and reconnecting with his body. And I said, every day that you do your 21 push-ups, it's not a big deal. you know, in a year from now, you're going to be kind of giggling at that. It was a big challenge to do 21 push-ups in a day. But at the end of the day, celebrate that. Or at the end of the 21 push-ups, you know, give yourself a round of applause or jump up and down or do a little jig or something, because it makes you feel good that actually, okay, I want to do something, plan to do something, and I actually did something, no matter how big or how small. And it is those tiny little things. And I also love your example with the roadmap, and I use that quite a bit. But also, as you say, being aware along the way. I use the example of having a navigator device in your car. And, you know, you set the goal and you know where you're going to go. But the reality is you don't have no idea how you're going to get there. And you don't know the challenges that may come along. You might hit a roadblock. You might hit a police block. You might get a flat tire. You might run out of gas. You might whatever, a million different things. But you don't stop on the side of the road and that's where your life stays. You don't now just live on the side of the road forever and go, well, I tried to get there and I can't. No, I'm not. So, you know, and the navigator device doesn't go, well, you really screwed that up, didn't you? You may as well just pull over and stop because now you're not going to get there. But it doesn't. It doesn't. And it's funny that people do that in their lives, right? They just go, oh, I tried that. Didn't work. I'm just going to pull over and stop. You know, rather than just going, okay, tried. I'm going to change the navigation. I'm going to keep going. I'm, you know, edit a few little things and just keep moving. And eventually I'm going to get there. And if people would look at their life the same way as just a simple journey to the grocery store, it would be such a different thing in people's lives, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah, yeah. There's I've forgotten now where I read it, but they said it's anything,
being aware.
Yeah, anything measured improves. So being able to measure our success, and if we can't measure our success, that's where it's important to have a coach or a mentor who can point out to us, because like I said, I'm guilty of this very much so. As soon as I hit a success, all right, that's done. I'm moving on to the next one. And I failed to stop and appreciate what I just accomplished. I almost as though it's taking it for granted. And that's where you need a good coach and a good mentor will remind you of what you just accomplished. Think about that a minute. Stop a minute, think about it, and let's have a little bit of a moment of celebration, appreciation, and gratitude. Because appreciation and gratitude, that's like two wings. That's going to lift us above all adversity.
So we're quite keen to also discuss with you the other modalities that you use. And we know that you are a clinical hypnotherapist. Can you share with us a little bit about how clinical hypnotherapy can really help people if they're struggling in their day-to-day life and challenges?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And hypnosis is it's coming back into its day. At one time, you may not know this, but at one time, hypnosis was the preferred anesthesia for dentists and doctors, even for invasive surgeries. Then somebody invented chemical anesthesia, and that was a lot easier and a lot cheaper than spending 30, 40, 50 minutes hypnotizing your patient. You just put a cover over the mouth, a few little drops of ether, and they were out. Cheaper, easier. So hypnosis almost faded away, almost went away. Stage hypnotists kept it alive, and now it's on its comeback. Even now, the military has even recognized that hypnosis is effective for post-traumatic stress. And getting the government to recognize something like that, I owe it all to the movers and shakers in the industry who have presented enough evidence to get them to realize that it is effective and it is safe and it is natural. We all go in and out of trance many times throughout the day. We just don't realize it. It's a natural process. We have our driving trance. We get in the car and we go from point A to point B. We didn't notice the red lights. We were having a conversation in our mind about something else. We didn't even notice the colors of cars around us because we were in our driving trance. All of us have been studying at one time or another, very deep study, and realized that somebody had spoken our name 3 times trying to get our attention. They finally snapped us out of our study trance. So the idea is to use that natural process to help people change their belief systems. I'm working with a lady right now who wants to lose weight. Okay, so what I do for her is I take her into a very deep state of relaxation. It's differs from sleep. It's not real sleep. It's that place in between waking and sleeping. That's our magic place. In the morning, as we're waking up, stop. Don't get in a hurry. Stay there for a moment. Imagine what you want to experience in your life in as much detail as you can, and get excited about it. And do the same thing, the very last thing before you go to sleep. I know this is a side note, but turn the television off. Do not listen to news last thing at night. Don't do that. Turn it off. Read something inspirational. And at the last few moments as you're drifting off to sleep, think again. Imagine experiencing the experience that you want to experience, and then go to sleep. You'll be amazed at what happens. So we do the same thing with hypnosis. So I take her into a place where she can imagine herself in the mirror seeing the physique that she desires. And she sees it and she celebrates it and she feels great about it. And in her imagination, there are people celebrating her. They are proud of her. They're complimenting her. She's wearing new clothes that fit better and look better. And the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between something we are imagining or something we are experiencing. It causes the same physiological reactions, and that's where FireWalking comes in. I teach people how, imagine a lemon drop. Lemon drop candy. Put one in your hand. Imagine putting it into your mouth. You feel that crunchy sugar coating that's on the outside of it. It's kind of abrasive-like, and it's very sweet, and it starts to dissolve, and the sweetness just fills your mouth. And then here comes the sour part. That's that really, really sour lemony part in the middle of it that just makes your mouth water, and it's just also sour. And then you can crunch onto that thing when it gets small. And anybody that's listening to this right now, most of those people have had a reaction. Their mouth started watering. They could feel that tension in the back of their jaw when they bite into a lemon. That's all imaginary. That was an imaginary lemon drop. But your mind didn't know that. Your subconscious mind didn't know that. It triggered it to release the saliva and the bodily function reactions that you would normally get if you ate a piece of candy that's like that. So I take her into that place, and she imagines her perfect body. She imagines a celebration. She imagines sitting down to a banquet, all kinds of food on the table. And she just eats a little bit of the most healthy. She's looking for the most healthy items on the plate. Those are the ones that she really desires and really cares for, not the potato chips and the other stuff, which, by the way, she loved before the hypnosis. And now we were at a party not too long ago, and there were chips right in front of her. She had no interest in eating potato chips. Simply because in her imagination, she has created a reality that she can enjoy, that she can celebrate, that she can look forward to, that she can expect is going to show up in her life. And it is. That's only one example.
Yes, it's amazing. I think, we do a lot of water fasting, and we help our guests who decide they're going to do a water fast, how they get over the boundaries of feeling hungry. And normally what happens if you're on a water fast, you're like, no, I can't think about what I can't have. And we do exactly the opposite, which is we celebrate what you would love to have. And it's amazing how the reaction of your body is that you've had whatever it was that you desired, but actually how progressively through your water fast, and that could be 3 days, 7 days, 21 days sometimes, that how your tastes change because you're so much more in alignment with what's going to help your body, rather than what's caused the problem and why you're feeling the way that you do.
And so much more aware of what you put in you and how it affects you.
Yes. And with that new awareness comes new desire.
Exactly.
The awareness, we're happy. Success breeds happiness. So any little success gives us a little dose of happiness. So the more we focus on the success rather than the failure, the more happiness we're going to feel, the more motivation we're going to have to go do that again. You guys are right on.
Yes. And then we must ask you about your plant medicine. I've been very lucky in my life to spend time with a Native American Indian, and I spent a lot of time in Albuquerque and did lots of shamanic healing with native herbs, and it's a big passion of mine. Can you share with us how you help people through natural plant medicine, what your favorites are?
Well, I can talk more freely about it now than I could have 10 years ago. I don't do a lot of plant medicine teachings anymore. The plant medicine that's I guess a term that's kind of a recent term for me. But in that journey in my life, trying to discover stuff, I ingested various plant medicines to create an altered state of reality, to get a better insight into me, what made me work, what made me tick, and how to better connect with whatever I needed to connect with. And I have gotten away from that because I know it's possible to travel various parts of the world and get with various shamans and other teachers and have those experiences, and that's okay. Just be sure that you've got the right guide under the right circumstances and the right preparation, because it's a pretty radical experience, and it can be with the right guide, no matter what kind of experience you have, it will be beneficial. If you don't have the right guide and you don't have a good experience, it could just knock you back. It could block you.
Yeah.
So, with having said that, tools that you teach, y'all teach awareness. You teach how to connect, how people can connect to their body, and how people can have that mind-body connection. You encourage them. You teach them how to do the things that we're talking about, focusing on success, celebrating their success, doing a little, achieving a little more, celebrating a little more. If you do that, you won't need to travel around the world or go up on the mountains and Himalayas to find a yogi and spend and give up your life and your job and all of that stuff for years and years and years to get to that place. It's not necessary anymore.
Because that place was always inside you in the first place anyway, wasn't it?
That's right. That's right. And I for me, it's if you do it naturally, then it's always available to you. You don't have to go somewhere or take something extra. It's always in you. It's already in you. It was already in you. You just didn't know it. With our conditioning in Western society conditioning, we just didn't know it. I like the way guru is spelled. Guru is spelled G-U-R-U.
Yeah.
Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, no, it does. No, absolutely.
Awesome.
And I know that you're a very keen beekeeper as well. Tell us about your power of honey and beekeeping, because I know that so many people around the world now, particularly in built up cities, are enjoying beekeeping, and obviously it's a very sacred insect that we need to look after because of the work that it does. So.
And also the impressive way that the world is changing around that, the new type of beehives and the new way of working with and respecting the creatures rather than being so invasive. What's your experience around that?
When I lived in Houston, Texas, I had a friend of mine who he was a beekeeper. And it was really interesting to go to his house. They were in the backyard, And to be around him and watch him handle the bees and listen and talk about the bees was just fascinating. They are so intelligent, I guess, so capable. They can pick up hundreds of different, or maybe even thousands of different scents, and they see a variety of colors. And I would go out there and just stand in the backyard, just stand close to the, and you would see these highways, just a line of bees leaving the hive, heading in a certain direction, and another one heading over there, and another one heading over there, and you would just stand there, and you get in the way of their little highway, like they're going over here. And if you just kind of move over there like that, they just go around you and catch up on the highway and take off again. It's like, no problem, I'll just go around. They're fascinating creatures. It's a lot of work to be a beekeeper if you're going to do it right. If you're going to be aware of how you're treating the bees, not overloading them with antibiotics and all the commercial, I'm going to call it commercial, all the commercial processes for keeping bees. It can be a lot of work. Here in Mexico, I've chosen not to be a beekeeper here because I came here kind of semi-retirement. I didn't come here to work. Otherwise, I would have my own bees. But when I got here, I found that there was honey was on sale every street corner. Somebody was selling honey. I thought I was in heaven. So I buy honey here, I buy honey there, buy honey here, take it home, put it in my mouth, and I'm like, oh, man, this is not honey. And it wasn't. The people that extended it with K-roll syrup or water with cornstarch. There's all kinds of tricks to extend honey to maximize profits. So I started asking around for beekeepers. And I found beekeepers, and I went out and looked at their operations, visited with them, just having conversation with them. And I identified 3 that are really good at maintaining the natural aspects. There's no antibiotics, and they don't feed them sugar water and stuff like that. So those, I started buying honey from those. And I'd buy it, bring it home, and I'd mix it all together, and put it on the table, and we really enjoyed it. It gave it a really unique flavor. And so many of my neighbors and friends would come over, they would enjoy it. And so I'd buy more, give it to them. Next thing you know, we were around a dinner table in my house. I wonder if other people would be interested in buying this stuff. And so sure enough, we just went out and bought some jars and put it in jars and set it up on a table somewhere in a little local market. And people went nuts over it. It's crazy. They love it. Our tagline is the best honey on the lake, and it's guaranteed. You take it home, you taste it, you don't like it, bring it back, full refund, we'll still be friends. 2.5 years, nobody's taken me up on that offer.
Well, I know that I bought quite a bit of it while I was over there, and I loved it. I almost couldn't get enough. Like you said, it's amazing just taking a couple of teaspoons or even a tablespoon a couple of times a day, and everything starts to change. The body starts to just feel that much healthier and more powerful, doesn't it?
I teach people all the time, if you're not watching your sugar, if you're not concerned about your glucose, if you'll eat a tablespoon in the morning, you can even use it for a mouthwash. It's antibacterial and it's got some antiviral properties to it. Tablespoon in the morning, the big one, tablespoon. And then mid-afternoon, when you're thinking about taking that little siesta, either take the siesta first or eat another tablespoon of honey first. If you'll eat a tablespoon of honey in 10, 15 minutes, you totally forget you were wanting to take a siesta. If you'll do that twice a day, every day for a week, I promise you, you will come back to me telling me how much better you're feeling, how much better your digestion is, how much better energy you have, clearer thinking, better sleeping. I mean, this stuff is it's like the miracle food. It's the only natural occurring food on the planet that has everything in it that the human body needs to survive. So it's
interesting that it's even the same color as the most sought after natural resource on the planet as well.
Yeah, there's actually 3 golds on the planet: metal gold, black gold, which is petroleum, and yellow gold, which is honey. The scariest thing that I've come across lately is here in Mexico. The state of Mexico was the largest honey producer in Mexico. Because of the popularity of honey, they can't keep up with production. So the buyers have come here to Jalisco, the state of Jalisco, to buy honey to be shipped north of the border. If it goes into the states, it has to be filtered. That's the rule. Filtering honey removes the pollen. So if they're buying buying honey for the allergy relief benefits, they're not going to get it, and they're not going to believe it. They'll worry, honey doesn't work for that. And so now, they're the larger quantity. These beekeepers that are selling to these guys are production oriented now. They want to get that honey through that strainer faster, so they're heating it, which is killing the rest of it. The vitamins and minerals, they'll survive a little higher heat, but the enzymes go real pretty quick. So now it can be organic, raw, local, whatever you want to hear, but it's empty.
I think that's the issue that so many of us struggle with, is that you want to have natural foods, and it's becoming more and more difficult. I mean, we're here in Barbados at the moment, and we're surrounded by farmers who are growing beautiful foods naturally. They're not putting pesticides, herbicides, fungicides on the land, and actually you taste the truth in the food and what it's meant to.
Yeah.
And the more refined your palate becomes in actually having natural foods, if you go into a supermarket and you have what's called honey, and it's actually, like you say, a refined glucose mix, it just doesn't taste very nice. It tastes the synthetic. But a lot of people's palate in all walks of life have been slightly dampened, I think, and they've become accepting in what they're given and not taking responsibility for what they can have and create and the choices that they can make. And now there's never been a better time to look after your health and what's going in your mouth and what's going in your head, and what you're prepared to listen to as a human being on this planet right now is just really important, because it's all those choices, like we've just been discussing for the last hour, that will make the difference between people really powering through and breaking through their barriers and becoming really successful, or that they're going to become very fat, very unwell, very unhealthy, have an illness, and compromise on all areas of their life. So, we need more Teds in the world.
We do need more Ted.
There are. Well, we're getting more. We're getting more every day.
Yeah,
I communicate with people all around the world, and I am so encouraged and so lifted up by the testimonials that I'm getting from people around the world about how people around them are waking up. And sometimes they're saying, man, these people, I never thought they would ever wake up, but they're waking up. They're realizing they got to do something different, and they're changing the world. But we don't see that in the newspaper and on the regular television stations.
Sure,
but it's happening. There's a huge.
Oops. Oh boy, we've lost Ted.
Oh, bless him. We'll see if we can get him back. But
that's the joys of live TV.
If we can get Ted back, then obviously we will. But if we can join us again, then great. But it's been amazing to have him on and really to discuss the breakthroughs that he's created for people because of FireWalking and his other modalities that he uses. And on our Rijooviness.com website, we have a link to his book, and we also have
his website as well.
His website too, so that you can get in touch with him. And hopefully, as the world opens up again, we will be able to go back into crowds again and to experience events and seminars and workshops and really enjoy the community of people getting together, gathering together and supporting each other in being their best self and breaking through their own limiting beliefs. And I think we're probably not going to be able to get Ted back now. So
it looks, but we are in talks with Ted about having him join our retreats with Rijooviness retreats to do a fire walk and also share his wisdom. Ted is an amazing wealth of knowledge. I highly recommend you check out his website. I'm going to put that along the bottom here again. Check out his website, have a read through his books. He's an amazing man. You can feel the love and the energy and the passion coming off of him. And, just to get involved with some of the work that he's done over the 40 plus years is incredible. He's a powerful, powerful man. And we'd love to have him join our retreats and workshops, which is exactly what we're going to be doing, which will be listed on Rijooviness retreats and Rijooviness.com.
So if you have a superpower and a talent that you would like to share with the world, we are here as a community at Rijooviness TV to really help everyone be empowered by all of the incredible health and wellness modalities that are out there, and how we can support each other and not necessarily listen to the news and listen to the propaganda, but actually be part of the whole. Yay, we got him! That's the last and final minute we have to get back. And,
the power just flipped off and everything had to reboot.
We thought maybe you were just going to appear over here in person. So while you were off screen, we did mention a little bit that we're in talks of once the world opens up again, that we'd like to have you join our retreats and to teach your FireWalking, as well as share your incredible wisdom and knowledge from 40 plus years. How many years have you been doing this now, Ted?
Wow, I was doing guided meditations for people probably in around the mid 70s. That's when I started doing that. And that was before I came across any of this other stuff. Yeah, it was just kind of a fun thing to do. Yeah. So I've been playing with, my first experience with the mind-body connection was prior to middle school. I was hanging out with a friend of mine he and his dad were considered the geeks of the neighborhood, and his dad especially. So I was over there visiting him one day, and I let him hypnotize me. I didn't know anything about hypnotism. I let him hypnotize me. He gave me a hypnotic suggestion that I would not be able to get up off the couch when I woke up. So I woke up, and I didn't think anything about it. I didn't remember that because that's the way it was set up to be. And my friend said, "Okay, well, let's go." And man, it was like I sat down in some glue. I couldn't get out of the couch. And I'm like, what's this all about? And then he removed that suggestion. And ever since then, I've been like, well, what is the deal here? Does that help?
Well, you've certainly got some new fans. My girlfriend Sarah, who's in Spain, in Marbella, is absolutely loving you, Ted. So I'm sure she'll be getting more information about your website. And this is the community that we really want to build in Rijooviness TV, and our website too is bringing like-minded people together to really connect with people that you resonate with. And in a world that's changing, people's vibration is changing, and we're becoming more aligned with people that we recognize. And this is where we all need to be, really, is looking after each other, supporting each other, and using the appropriate disciplines around our own life that will really support our best life. And as we always say, everything affects everything.
Everything affects everything. So, and awareness is the magic pill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your time with us, Ted. We really, really appreciate it. We'd love to have you back on again, and maybe the next time we can go a little bit deeper into the retreats and some of the different things that you share. Our retreats range from minimum 3 days up to a couple of weeks. And I know that you do the longer retreats as well. So maybe we can talk about that on the next show and just get in and share more of your wisdom and more of your stories. And look forward to when the world is opening up that we can all get together in person again.
Yeah, me too. I look forward to that.
You've got a couple of minutes. Why don't you share with us just a couple of minutes if you want, or another 30, 60 seconds, just your final words on what you'd like to share with our audience.
Okay. Keep wondering. Wondering. It all begins with wonder. It all begins with wonder. Wonder about what you can do. Wonder about, okay, if you don't think you can do it, well, I wonder what might show up in my life in the next 10 minutes, 3 days, 2 days, 2 weeks that will help me to be able to accomplish that. I just wonder all the time.
Amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that, Ted.
Welcome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everyone who's joined us on the show today and also on the catch up. Remember that you can find us at Rijooviness TV on our Facebook group. Please join that community, and also on Rijooviness.com. We have a wealth of people that we work in conjunction with, and we do so many different things on there to really help the world to become a better place. So,
And if you'd like to get involved, if you'd either like to learn how to be a coach or a mentor, or you'd like to join us at our retreats or our workshops or any of our online programs, Rijooviness.com is where you can check all that out.
so
From us, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next show.
thank you. Bye.